Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Transformers review. As you can see, I'm doing the G1 targetmaster I spoke about in my last review, and this is Autobot Crosshairs. Now he's from the 1987 Targetmaster series of figures, from series 4 of the G1 line of toys. As you can see, he's basically, I suppose you class it as a Cybertronian off-road vehicle. I'd have to say before we start, he is a little bit beaten up. He's not one of my best conditioned figures, and he could certainly do with a repro labels job done on this guy. So he isn't absolutely sort of mint. Just to prove I do have a few rough ones in my collection, but yeah, he's a pretty nice vehicle mode, freewheeling wheels, and obviously a dirty great big gun on top. Now obviously, because he's from the Targetmaster line, I'll take the weapon off the top, which is just pegged into a hole in the roof, and I'll give you a quick look at it. It's pretty obvious that that's his Nebulon partner. You can effectively see the guy's face laying down. Yeah, not the best weapon in the world. He's certainly not the best of the Targetmaster weapons. What can you say? I mean, I do see it sometimes with it put in that position, but it's sort of wrong, because that's when he's transformed. It should be like that in gun mode. Anyway, yeah, bit of a strange twin barrel gun, but as you see, it's got metal pin hinges. You fold the barrels over the top, fold the next set of hinges round, and you get his Nebulon partner. And you know, pretty good little figure, quite nicely moulded. I can't remember his name offhand, but nice little face mould on his Nebulon partner there, and zero Poseability. Obviously it's G1. I suppose you could get him to sit down, but he'd be sitting on the barrels of a gun, so it's a bit odd. But at least with the Autobot ones, they had metal pin hinges, whereas the Decepticon ones had plastic clips and do tend to break. So the Autobot ones are better actual Targetmaster weapons. But there you go. So that's his little mini-con, effectively. His Targetmaster weapon. Now stand that to one side, so he's out of the way. Now getting to Crosshairs himself, he's a pretty simple transformation, as a lot of G1s are. First thing you have to do is take the rear wheels, and they fold round underneath the bodywork, like so. Now it's often the case that these are loose on a lot of figures if you ever see them and want to pick one up. It's quite simple just to use a little tiny bit of super glue just to tighten up these joints, and as you can see, it just stiffens them up completely. So I have done my ones as well, and they don't move after that other than how you want them to. Now for the next part of the transformation, his legs unfortunately are fixed together via that post in the middle there, which is a bit of a shame, but you pull back on the back of the vehicle and it nicely clips round, hinges round and extends, and that becomes his legs. And obviously these black bits at the back just fold up and become his feet. And as you can see, he's pretty much almost there now. The next part of the transformation is with the front of the vehicle. Now you pull out on the sides like so, and they fold round, and on the inside there you've got to get your nails in. If I can just get that round, you've got a tab at the front there, you just pull that round to bring his fists out, and that reveals his hand. Do the same on this side, like so. Pull that round and get his hand out, and then for the head reveal, all you need to do is take the part which is the sort of centre bonnet part of the vehicle with the rub sign on, hinge it back, and as you do, his head's sprung loaded and just pops up. Now I'll bring that in, I just have to lift camera up slightly. Now as you can see, you've got a bit of paint there on the windscreen. Easily remedied if you've got the right sort of paint, and just give it a touch up. And as you can see, as I said, sticker details on this guy are a bit ropey, so I will have to repro label him at some point. But quite a nice little head sculpt, and generally quite a nice little figure. He does, if I move him back out of the way now, so you can get into shot a little bit better. He's reasonably articulated for a G1. The joints are sort of click position ones, so he will roughly stay where you want him to. He's got a little bit of shoulder movement in and out, as sort of 360 all the way around at the shoulder. Legs, as I say, unfortunately are fixed together, so wherever you put them they go together, so maybe kneeling down's about as good as he's going to get with the legs, but that's half of the course with G1. Head doesn't revolve, I don't believe, because of the nature of the transformation again, because it just pops up. But yeah, he's not bad. I mean, once you get his Nebulon partner back into weapon mode, you can stick him in his hand and you've got yourself a classic G1 target master. Again, not the best sort of target master weapon again, because you get the hollow part of the rear of his legs there on show, but you know, he will hold him out, although as you can see he's not exactly well proportioned, and he will try and fall forward if he's got his arm extended. So unfortunately, if you want to display him, it's gun pointing down mode, I'm afraid. Even with the kibble with the wheel sticking out the back on his back side, making for some weird round butt cheeks there. Yeah, he's not balanced that great, but for display in amongst all your other target masters, he's a shelf filler, I would say. Not a priority for a collector to pick up, but definitely one that's worth getting. He's not usually that expensive, and I've seen him go for a reasonable amount. Not always with the weapon though. The weapon is probably the hardest part of any of these target masters to actually get, and obviously complete the figure. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that little review of a classic G1 figure. Please feel free to comment and subscribe, and I shall see you again for another Transformers review. Thanks for watching.